Tonight, reading the rumor mill. Reports of a potential buyer for CAMI's inactive assembly plant in Ingersoll.
It could serve as a good platform for growth, and it certainly would be better than an idle factory.
Plus, move-in ready.
I think they're really excited about all the amenities we have here for them.
Tenants now welcome at London's micro-shelter community. And no rush for liftoff. A failed test pushes back the Artemis moon mission and Jeremy Hansen's lunar departure.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a potential takeover at the CAMI assembly plant in Ingersoll. There may be a path forward for production of bright drop vehicles under European ownership. With more on the rumors, here's Jerry Dewan.
Dozens of bright drop vehicles wearing the Chevy tag remain in a compound on the CAMI property in Ingersoll. Production was stopped in the fall, with General Motors saying there were no plans for a return. But there are reports emerging that the bright drop may still have a future.
The Dumouriez Group is an independent provider specializing in the development, integration and production of cutting-edge propulsion systems.
The Belgium-based Dumouriez Group is said to be exploring the idea of buying the CAMI plant. The report comes from the online automotive trade journal GM Authority, which has a history of being tapped into GM operations. It cites sources close to the discussions.
An innovative, diversified Belgian company might be really high on the list of who might be a good fit.
Brendan Sweeney is managing director with the Trillium Network for Advanced Manufacturing. He says Dumouriez takes a progressive approach to new tech.
They're diversified. They engage with a number of different technologies, including fuel cells, which is a really interesting play for Canada that, might get gain more steam.
The GM Authority report indicates Dumouriez CEO and founder Guido Dumouriez will tour the CAMI plant in the near future. But Brendan Sweeney says the plant will never see the halcyon days, which saw 3,000 workers fill the plant when it produced Chevy Equinox and GMC Terrain vehicles.
My guess is they need a few hundred people. They are willing to do this, and it could serve as a good platform for growth, and it certainly would be better than an idle factory.
Sweeney says there continues to be a significant shift in auto production in Ontario, noting analysis from the Trillium Network released on Monday, with Japanese-based companies becoming the dominant players.
Last year, Toyota produced 537,000 vehicles. Honda produced 401,000 vehicles. And the three U.S.-based automakers combined produced 321,000 vehicles combined.
The Trillium Network notes that in the last 10 years, overall production has dropped from 2.3 million vehicles a year to 1.2 million vehicles a year. In Ingersoll, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Canada's industry minister says the federal government is trying to recover millions of dollars in public funding from General Motors. Hundreds of workers at the GM plant in Oshawa were laid off after the company ended the third shift last week. It was the second major downsizing for General Motors Canada in the last 6 months.
I've already said that we would get our money back from Stellantis and also from GM. We're in evaluation mode right now as to how much. Of course, a lot of our support was linked to production, and therefore if there was no production, obviously there was no funding. And so that's what we are focused on, and I'll have more to say on Stellantis in the coming days. And we're also in contact with GM. At this point, when it comes to GM also, back in December, we decided to reduce their emission quotas. Basically, the amount of cars they can bring to Canada without tariffs has been reduced because obviously they've decided to shut down Ingersoll, and now they're going after the third shift in Oshawa.
The minister says the government will also support Bombardier and the aeronautical sector, but did not provide details. At this point, it's not clear if President Donald Trump will follow through on a threat to impose 50% tariffs on jets made in Canada. He's also threatened decertification for Bombardier planes. A new report is shedding light on how much Canada's auto industry has changed in the last decade. Vehicle output is down sharply, raising concerns over the federal government's strategy for the sector and whether or not stability will return. Sanjay Maru reports.
Windsor Assembly. It's the heartbeat of this region's auto sector, but new data suggests the industry behind it is changing fast. A report from the Trillium Network for Advanced Manufacturing shows vehicle production in Canada has been cut nearly in half over the past decade. Much of that decline is tied to U.S.-based automakers, the Detroit Big Three, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, whose share of Canadian production has fallen sharply, leaving communities like Windsor-Essex especially exposed.
It's a shame, to be quite frank with you, because we've got a long history with the Detroit Three. And to watch jobs leave this country, and you look at what we've done, is so disappointing.
The shift has played out across Ontario. 700 jobs recently cut in Oshawa, electric van production ending in Ingersoll, and retooling work paused at Stellantis' Brampton plant.
When you look at all of that, of course, manufacturing in the short term in the last few years has been down, but it's been falling prior to that because of the presence of Mexico being a cheaper jurisdiction to do business. So I'm not particularly surprised by the numbers.
The report points to idle and underutilized assembly plants as a major drag on productivity, a challenge workers in Windsor know all too well following repeated shutdowns.
All it takes is one decision on the other side of the border, and the next thing, we are the CAMI plant, or we are the Oshawa plant, or we are the Brampton assembly plant. And I think the government is starting to recognize it, and that's why they've got a policy that they're talking about. Hopefully it's substantial.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly has said the Canadian government is putting together a strategy to support the nation's auto workers amid job losses and punishing tariffs from the U.S. Meanwhile, Japan-based automakers Honda and Toyota have kept production steady in Canada and now build more vehicles here than U.S.-based automakers combined, a shift the report calls the most significant cultural change in decades.
Honda vehicles sell really well on both sides of the border, so they need a lot of them, and they're churning them out. That's really the only reason. They haven't shut down for retooling. They haven't been hit that hard by tariffs. They remain popular vehicles, so of course they'll be building them.
In Windsor, Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
There are more industrial properties available in London, a rise of 5.3% in the last quarter of 2025. It's a double-digit increase compared to a year ago.
Last year had some bumps along the way. It was a lot of pausing, wait and see. So we're hopeful some of those decisions that got put on hold last year may happen this year.
According to CBRE, small industrial spaces are in high demand, and there's been a moderate rebound for medium-sized properties, sparking interest in the agri-food, healthcare, and defense sectors. CBRE officials say projects like the PowerCo battery plant in St. Thomas will encourage new builds, but securing tenants for large existing properties is a challenge. They say the former Accuride plant in East London will be converted into multiple spaces, with the first tenant expected to occupy a tenth of the building this summer.
It's about 50,000 square feet that has been leased. They will be going in this summer. They're in the manufacturing business. Hopefully there will be some positive news on that building.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. A huge spin of low pressure has dominated the Great Lakes, but for us here in extreme southwestern Ontario through the Midwestern tier and even towards the Golden Horseshoe, some of that snow is starting to subside as the system ventures a little bit further to the east. There's still lake-enhanced snow that engine, if you will, conveyor belt continues right across Lake Huron further inland for Goderich, Grand Bend, Kincardine, Southampton, more snow for you, and working into places like Hanover as well as Listowel. But despite the snow now, we'll get into a break through the midweek, Wednesday, and even some sunshine. It remains cold. I'll break down all you need to know. The wind chill, though, is near -20 for tomorrow morning. All of that coming up. Carlyle.
Thanks very much, Gary. Clients are moving into London's new micro-shelter community after several delays. The project has taken shape over a matter of weeks, facing delays along the way near Highbury and the 401. And with more on the settling in process for residents and nearby businesses, here's Brian Bicknell.
So this is our micro-modular shelter. We have 60 cabins here.
It's move-in week at London's newest community. The first 4 clients spent their first night Monday in the city's new micro-shelter.
It was really special, Brian. So our first group was a young woman and her dog. The dog jumped right on the bed and snuggled itself up on the pillow. It was really special to see, and I think they're really excited about all the amenities we have here for them as well, and they just have a nice place to sleep.
The shelter will house up to 70 people, including 10 couples, in 60 heated and air-conditioned units. The site includes washrooms, shower, laundry, dining, and common spaces. Located in an industrial area in southeast London, local companies have been watching with interest as the community takes shape.
We're obviously aware that there may be someone get lost, someone that might need some help, and everyone's prepared to chip in. And even if we need to do a drive, for bedding or whatever the needs. And we have 24-hour maintenance support here. If there's an emergency, we've offered electricians or millwrights to go help at night.
While there is much support among industry here for the micro-shelter project, there is also no small amount of apprehension. Some companies already bracing for a hit to their bottom line, they say, because of their new neighbors. The owner of this manufacturing business says he's been informed by his insurance company their rates are going up.
Biggest issue they brought up was about them walking around during the evening hours, coming down if it was raining or cold, checking any vehicle that might be open that they could crawl into to get out of the elements just for even a short period of time. Checking it for money, of course, if there's anything left.
Lake adds that he supports the project and he'll wait to see how it works out before casting judgment. In the meantime, the micro-shelter is expected to be at full capacity by mid-February.
The first step is finding them, letting them know that their spot is ready, and then assisting them in getting out here.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Provincial police say one person was airlifted to hospital today after a crash south of Woodstock this morning. According to police, the head-on crash sent one vehicle into a farmer's field. Another was blocking the roadway. Oxford OPP say road conditions were getting worse through the morning as the temperature dropped.
We want to put that reminder out that, you could be a great driver, but you might run into slick, slippery conditions. So you need to reduce your speed. You don't need to drive at the posted limit. Drive to the road and weather conditions.
3 of the 4 suspects in the London police investigation near Western University made brief appearances in bail court today. 2 of the cases were put over until February 10th, the 3rd suspect until February 24th. The 4th person accused is scheduled for a bail appearance tomorrow morning, and they all remain in custody. Several serious charges have been laid against them, including manufacturing weapons. The police investigation began after one of the suspects was arrested on Western's campus with a loaded handgun. That led to a search at a nearby home where police said they found chemicals which could be used to make explosives. Sentencing submissions today at the London courthouse in a manslaughter case over the death of a teenager. With more on the proceedings, here's Rita Ismail.
Emotional victim impact statements were read in court today, remembering 16-year-old Malik McDonald Mills, who died after being stabbed on August 9th, 2023. A close friend told the court Malik was the sweetest young man anyone could have ever met. He was very courageous and intelligent. He had so much going for him. Another said, since Malik has been gone, this world seems so lonely and dark without him. Visibly overwhelmed with emotion, Malik's mother said, all I wanted was my son back. I begged and I prayed. I still haven't accepted that Malik is gone, but I know that he is.
And Malik was just a smart, talented, excited to be alive now, living his life positively and finally, for the first time, being happy. And he had so many hopes and dreams and talent, and he was just taken away in an instant.
Last October, a London jury found 20-year-old Trayton Hoffman guilty of manslaughter in connection with Malik's death. During sentencing submissions today, the Crown argued that although Hoffman did not deliver the fatal stab wound, he was a party to the offense, alleging he chased the victim and used pepper spray. The Crown is seeking a 7-year sentence minus credit for time already spent in custody. The defense counsel continued to dispute that position, arguing there's a lack of what he called robust evidence. maintaining that the Crown has not proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. The court heard that a group of young people had gathered on the night of the incident and were consuming alcohol and marijuana. McDonald Mills later suffered a fatal stab wound to the femoral artery. 2 other individuals charged under the Youth Criminal Justice Act still have matters before the court related to the same incident. Hoffman remains free on bail. His sentencing hearing resumes April 21st. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Police in West Grey say they need help identifying a robbery suspect. They say last July, a man dressed in a full-body spandex suit robbed a convenience store in Hanover with a machete. They say recent DNA evidence failed to return results. Police describe the suspect as between 5'10" and 6 feet tall with a slim build. NASA has announced a substantial delay to the Artemis 2 moon mission, pushing back London astronaut Jeremy Hansen's trip into space. A critical fuel test was carried out yesterday, which failed. NASA officials say there were multiple fuel leaks, announcing a new launch day for March 6th at the earliest. However, they say it may not happen until April, so Hansen and the 3 other crew members will be moved out of quarantine for the time being. NASA officials say they will review the data before trying another fuel test. When we come back, tributes pouring in after 3 Alberta junior hockey players were killed in a crash on their way to practice. Plus, a remote Canadian port with global potential. The focus on Churchill, Manitoba, and what expansion could mean for Arctic access.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. A small community in Alberta is in mourning after 3 junior hockey players were killed in a crash while they were on their way to practice. With more on the collision and the reaction, here's Kathy Lee.
The population of Staveley is just over 500 people. It's one of those small southern Alberta towns where everybody knows everybody, and the deaths of these 3 young players has really hit this community hard. This is a memorial outside the Staveley Agricultural Society, the arena where the Southern Alberta Mustangs played. The jerseys of 17-year-old Caden Fine, who is from Birmingham, Alabama, and 18-year-old JJ Wright and Cameron Casorso, both from Kamloops, BC, have been laid out. Community members have been dropping by, lighting candles, dropping off flowers, and paying tribute to the 3 players.
It broke my heart to find out that these hockey players, so young, with bright futures, lost their lives so young.
These kids become part of our family. They're just, yes, they're part of the community, but they're also part of our families too.
The crash happened yesterday morning as the players were on their way to practice when they collided with a semi-truck pulling gravel. This was just outside of the town on a major highway in southern Alberta. RCMP said this morning the investigation is still ongoing, but do not believe this is criminal in nature.
That passenger vehicle would have had to come across 2 lanes of Highway 2 to get into the median, and then proceed across the other 2 lanes to get into that entrance to Staveley.
RCMP say the driver of the semi is okay. Some community members have complained about the dangers of the intersection in the past. The team did release a statement saying they are family, and right now their family is hurting. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Staveley, Alberta.
Manitoba's premier is in the remote community of Churchill, speaking with locals as the federal government considers a major expansion in the area. The project could turn the town into a year-round hub connecting Western Canada to the north and the Atlantic. With more, here's Allison Bamford.
The Premier's trip really focused on 3 things: tourism, marine conservation, and local perspective, and how they all fit within the Port of Churchill Plus project. The project that's under consideration would connect Western Canadian goods to the north and other global markets through Hudson Bay, while bringing jobs back into the remote community. It's an exciting opportunity for residents we've talked to, but they're also concerned with protecting the tourism industry and the environment. Premier Wab Kinew believes a balance can be struck, today announcing funding to explore the possibility of a national marine conservation area within the western part of Hudson Bay. The province investing $250,000 alongside environmental group Oceans North, who is committing $1 million.
As we pursue the economic, as we pursue the international priorities to grow Manitoba into an amazing future economy that we can all envision for ourselves, it's also about making sure that when we take one step in that direction, we're taking another step in the direction of the environment.
The Premier says the conservation area would protect the environment while supporting economic development and the northern tourism industry. This is just one piece of the puzzle that needs to be sorted as talks continue around Churchill Plus. The province is also working with Ottawa's Major Projects Office to develop a report that the Premier says would flesh out the numbers in order to make this project work. That report is expected in April. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Churchill, Manitoba.
Meteorologist Gary Archibald is with me tonight. And Gary, we're talking a bit of snow today at least, and colder temperatures as we get into tomorrow.
You're right about that, Carlyle. And that cold will be reinforced with the light to moderate winds that we'll see tonight into tomorrow morning's commute. Early tomorrow morning, even though we'll see a mixture of sun and cloud, it'll look bright. As you head outside, you'll certainly feel it. Minus 19 to say minus 26 across parts of the region. Reached a high today of minus 5, still below seasonal by 4 degrees. And the winds are subsiding. If they were steady at, say, 30 or 35 we could see wind chill values yet again tomorrow morning in the minus 30s, but that won't be the case. So silver lining there. Area of low pressure is still dominating. It's been a cool, damp day in parts of the southwestern tier of the province. Regional temperatures right now range between minus 5 in Windsor, minus 9 in London, minus 10 in Wyerton, Owen Sound. Kincardin's about minus 10 as well. Goderich, look at this, wind chill value of minus 13, but Waterloo minus 17, and it's still getting colder tonight. Into tomorrow morning, pre-dawn again, wind chill values near minus 20. So we can make out the spin of low pressure, counterclockwise rotation around the center, the core. And because of that, on its reverse side, we get into northwesterlies. And with open waters that are not frozen, the lake effect engine is turned on, and we have a stream of activity that keeps penetrating the airspace and putting down an additional centimeter to 5 centimeters tonight across parts of the Midwest, and more snow on the way. Late Thursday afternoon, we'll see the encroachment through the state of Michigan, headed east towards southern Ontario where it matters, and some snow sticking to the ground on Friday through the early morning. More on that in just a moment. Right now, the next 24 hours, it's a light dusting for us here in the great city of London, Ontario. A little bit more of a concentration along the eastern shores and further inland. Computer models may be underplaying it because lake effect is difficult for those simulations to really come up with and hammer down tallies. The accumulations, I think, will be in the 5 to 10 range in some very small areas along the eastern shores. Tonight, look at this, still minus 12 projected at midnight, feeling like about minus 18. So between now and midnight, still the chance of some flurries, about a 30 to 40% chance. And again, these flurries are not likely to accumulate into much, less than a centimeter for sure. Then we'll get into some snow as we head towards Friday, as mentioned. Take a look at the highs and lows expected. For the city of London, our average high for this time of the year is about 2.6 degrees Celsius. We're well below that for the next couple of days, and then reach it on Friday with snow, and then we're below it again. Getting cold for the weekend, and the lows are in the mid to minus teens. Midwest, again, parts will see 5 to 10 centimeters possibly, depending on the wind profile. And then more snow with a separate system moving in late Thursday into Friday morning. Couple of centimeters at least, some models suggesting 2 to 5. And then snow for the weekend and colder Saturday night into Sunday. Things starting to level off and moderate next week. Carlyle?
All right, Gary, thanks very much. Still ahead, pet insurance premiums coming at a higher cost. The animal companion getting older, and that's costing people more.
Coming up tomorrow morning, we have a very special guest joining us. The in-studio, Nate Holler, is going to be here talking about brand new music and a brand new tour that's going to bring him to London, Ontario. Make sure you join us at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Slopes for Hope is back February 27th at Boulder Mountain in support of Children's Health Foundation. Enter online at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of registration passes to ski, snowboard, or tube in a full day of fun on the slopes, live music, and more.
Local real estate officials say local home sales slowed last month. According to the London St. Thomas Realtors Association, 341 homes sold in January, down from just under 400 in December. It's also a 10% drop on a year-over-year basis. Elstar officials say the average sale price across the region was up, though, about $10,000 last month. Another landlord has filed a lawsuit against Toys R Us, terminating the retailer's lease because of unpaid rent. A court filing says the officials with the toy store didn't pay rent last month for a space at one of their Toronto shopping centers. According to the landlord, they were warned the lease would be terminated without payment, following through on the threat last month. Dozens of Toys R Us locations have closed in recent months amid lawsuits from at least 7 landlords. Pet insurance premiums are rising, especially for older animals. As Pet Foreign reports, there may be a smarter way to cover emergencies than handing over hundreds of dollars a month to insurance companies.
Is Rosie a good dog?
Oh, she's the best. She just loves people.
Elaine Sitter of Toronto has had Rosie, a Bichon poodle, since she was a puppy. Now 11 years old, Rosie continues to be a wonderful companion.
I love her. She's amazing. She's my little shadow.
Sitter says a former pet died young and had expensive veterinary bills, which is why she wanted Rosie to have pet insurance. The monthly premiums were manageable in the beginning, but in 2024 they rose to $286 a month. They jumped again the next year to $470 a month, and Sitter was told for this year the premiums would be $866 each month.
I want to live comfortably, and I want her to live comfortably as well, but I just can't justify that kind of money.
Sitter is insured with 24 Pet Watch. She called to get answers regarding the massive price hike.
Your dog is older, and I'm like, yeah, that was a point of insurance, and that I was on an old plan, and they weren't honoring that old plan any longer.
We contacted the parent company of 24 Pet Watch, Independence Pet Holdings. A spokesperson said monthly premiums have risen in recent years as veterinary costs continue to increase. As claim costs rise, insurers must adjust premiums to keep pace.
The rates for younger animals will always be less expensive than those for animals as they age.
Consumer Reports advises to shop around for pet insurance or self-insure with your own savings plan.
Meaning you have a lockbox where you put that money untouched in the event that your pet does need some sort of service.
That's a lot of money.
Sitter says over 11 years she paid $17,000 in premiums and now wishes she would have had her own savings plan instead.
I really wish that I wouldn't have bothered with insurance. I could have stuck $100 away a week and would have been fine.
Pat Foreign, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index rose as the price of gold regained recent losses. The TSX is up 205 points. In New York, the Dow fell 167. The Nasdaq lost 337. The Canadian dollar added 0.13 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold is up about $280 an ounce. Oil gained a little more than $1 a barrel.
There's so many, and it's so many frequent sightings. Nobody knows anything.
Still to come, searching the sky for answers. The Manitoba community concerned about unexplained drone sightings flying over their homes. Welcome back. A new study on Canadian heart disease suggests as a country we aren't doing enough to stay healthy. With more on the research and what can be done to reverse the trend, here's Heather Wright.
What started as mild heartburn suddenly became much more serious for Elena Trainoff.
I woke up one night in the middle of the night with crushing chest pain. And even then I thought, I'm too young for this to be a heart situation.
At just 40 years old, Trainoff had 100% blockage of one artery and partial blockage of two others. She was taken in for emergency surgery. Nearly 11 years later, Trainoff credits changes to her lifestyle for keeping her healthy.
I quit smoking, I lost weight, I changed my eating habits, I radically reduced the amount of stress that I was under.
According to a new report from the Heart and Stroke Foundation, 9 in every 10 Canadians have at least one risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Lifestyle risks include smoking, poor diet, stress, lack of sleep, and lack of physical activity. And while some risk factors like genetics, gender, age, and air pollution can't be changed, experts say 80% of premature heart disease can be prevented with lifestyle changes.
We're surrounded by unhealthy food options. We aren't as physically active as we once were. Most people work in sedentary jobs. So for those reasons, it can be more difficult, and we have to make conscious effort to live healthfully.
And while some risk factors like smoking are declining, others are on the rise. For example, 1 in 4 grade 12 students say they vape, while the number of Canadian adults living with high blood pressure has increased every year since 2000.
While the death rate from heart disease and stroke has decreased by about 80% over the last 70 years, these diseases still cause 1 in every 5 deaths in Canada. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
A Canadian family have learned their 2-year-old son is carrying an ultra-rare genetic mutation with no formal diagnosis. As Pauline Chan reports, they're now facing a race against time and cost to give him a chance at a healthy life.
Whoa! How did you do that? He has an infectious laugh and is doing very well with his current routine of various therapies. But Lucas Azevedo's family fears the mutation in his RBM28 gene may rob the 2-year-old of his chance at a full and healthy life.
We've known about it since November of 2025. There is no official name for it or diagnosis for it.
It's kind of a rare mutation that he has.
Lucas's uncle, himself a neuroscientist, says so much about the boy's future is a mystery.
What it appears to do is be involved in the formation of the ribosome and the function of the ribosome. The ribosome is a cellular structure that converts genes into proteins.
Sophia says there is a boy in Mexico who appears to have the same mutation, but other than that, they don't know of any other cases. Their best hope is to develop a personalized gene therapy, and they've already found a clinic in the U.S. that's willing to do that, but the price tag is $1.7 million Canadian, and they need almost 300,000 Canadian just to begin the first stage. They've started a GoFundMe page and consulted with Terry Pirvolakis, who also fundraised to get his son, Michael, a gene therapy for his ultra-rare disease known as SPG50. They raised $4.5 million, and he says it's a very tough thing for families to face.
A disorder with under 5,000 patients in the U.S. is not commercially viable. So companies will not take those programs on, just like Michael's disorder. So the only way to move the needle and to save your child is to, unfortunately, do a clinical trial and raise millions of dollars.
We don't know exactly how it will affect his future. We only know because there's so little known about this variant that it's progressive. That's all we know so far.
Sophia says their cost is less for the gene therapy, but even with it, the future is unclear. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A new American health report suggests late-night habits can be bad for your heart. According to the research, people who are more active late at night have worse overall heart health than early birds. The study was published in the American Heart Association Journal, analyzing data from more than 300,000 middle-aged adults over the course of 14 years. The researchers found night owls, especially women, were more likely to have poor overall heart health and a higher risk of heart attack and stroke. However, the study also attributed unhealthy habits like smoking or poor diet as common behaviors of people who stay up late. A new study on ultra-processed foods suggests those products should be regulated like cigarettes because they are carefully engineered to encourage consumption. The study was published in the peer-reviewed journal, the Millbank Quarterly. It looked at the design, marketing, and distribution of ultra-processed foods and how they mirror tactics used by the tobacco industry. The researchers argue these foods pose serious health risks and should be considered addictive because they optimize craving, rapid intake, and repeated use.
Hey, and welcome back to another week of KP's Pet Rescue. We're about to meet Daltrey, who's arriving in style in a 2026 Kia Sportage from London's Airport Kia. Let's go meet him. This is Daltrey, the biggest teddy bear you will ever meet, right, buddy? He is close to 140 pounds of pure love and just a little bit of slobber. But he is honestly such a dream. He gets along with everyone and everything. He's only 4 years old, and as you can tell, he's a St. Bernard who loves food, loves snuggles, and just wants to be your best friend. His backstory actually so sad. So he was found in the country running around with his grandmother and his daughter, and he was picked up by animal control. So he's been a dream with his foster, with Animal Alert. And as you can tell, he's just a gentle giant. He's well-natured, well-mannered. Look at how good you were. You did so well. Good job, buddy.
If you're interested in adopting, visit animalert.ca for more information. Special thanks to London's Airport Kia for sponsoring KP's Pet Rescue.
Let's take a look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Ellen Price, as always, for great images just like this one. Well, that male cardinal might be seeking shelter from the cold, the wind, and the flurries, as we might as well, over the next few hours through this evening and overnight into tomorrow morning. Very cold temperatures down to about -17 pre-dawn. Wednesday morning feels like about -24. We'll see a mixture of sun and cloud, a high of -8 in the afternoon across parts of the Midwest. A little bit colder, closer to about -10 to -13. Our average high for this time of the year, -2. The average low, -10. Stay warm, everyone.
Canadian Armed Forces were in Texas yesterday for the arrival of their first F-35 fighter jets. Canada's first F-35 is in the final stages of assembly on Lockheed Martin's production line in Fort Worth. Canada has a contract to buy 16 F-35s, but federal officials have not said what they will do with the remaining order of 72 jets meant to replace the aging fleet of CF-18s.
Well, first of all, let's remind Canadians we have acquired 16 F-35 fighter jets. And the head of the Air Force will be there as part of the process of rolling these planes off the production line. We have Canadian pilots that will begin their training in Arizona. This is part and parcel of what we committed to doing. The question of further acquisition of that fleet remains under review.
The agreement to buy the F-35s has been criticized for reinforcing Canada's dependence on the U.S. Meanwhile, officials with Lockheed Martin deny allegations of an apparent kill switch in the F-35, which would allow American authorities to remotely disable the aircraft. Residents in a southern Manitoba community have turned to the RCMP trying to figure out who's flying drones in their neighborhood. They say it's happening frequently and becoming increasingly disruptive. With more on their search for answers, here's Danton Unger.
You can always see them in the distance over here.
Monique Kirchie has noticed something strange going on in the skies of southern Manitoba.
Like they fly all over the town.
Over the past few weeks, Kirchie says she and her neighbors have seen large drones like this hovering around Kleefeld just west of Steinbach.
It's only at nighttime that they're hearing and seeing these things, and so it raised a lot of concern, the fact that there's so many and it's so many frequent sightings. Nobody knows anything.
She's reported it to the municipality and the RCMP, but so far, no answers as to what's behind the sudden uptick in drone activity. Steinbach RCMP did confirm they've received one report of drones flying over the city as well as in the Lebrokery area, hovering near houses and waking people up. RCMP say at this point, no other reports have been received. Corporal Ryan Cadot says it can be difficult to track down the operators of drones.
It's tricky because a lot of these drones have considerable range, and unless you can find the pilot, there's not a whole lot we can really do about it, unfortunately.
Still, if a drone is flying on private property or getting a little too close for comfort, Cadot does encourage residents to report it to RCMP. As for Kirchie, this is a mystery she wants to solve. That's why she's created the Community Drone Watch.
Drone chasers, unite.
I was kidding, but at the same time kind of serious, because people had been posting about noticing all these drones flying around for the last few weeks.
While not taking herself too seriously, she does hope this will lead to some answers, like who's flying these drones around her area and why.
So far, nobody knows what these things are. They're just these big, large drones that have been flying around.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Steinbach.
A man in BC has turned a childhood Easter tradition into a lifelong commitment. Adam Sawatsky has more on his decades-long connection to Egbert.
When David Jevney was almost 6 years old, he woke up before his parents on Easter morning, took a raw egg out of the fridge, and drew a face on it.
Why not? Doesn't everybody draw a face on an egg at Easter and put it back in the fridge?
David doesn't remember why he did it or why his parents kept it, but he can't forget it being a constant while growing up.
And when you open the fridge door, you would always see it looking back at you.
More than a decade later, after David moved out, the egg stayed put.
A little bit of family history.
Does it have a name?
Egbert. With 2 G's. There's no better name for an egg. It's the only name for an egg.
Egbert remained in his parents' fridge, uncracked and uncooked, for 50 years, until they passed away and David packed it up to move in with him and his wife, Lise.
The reaction was probably, oh my goodness, okay, well, do we have to take it to the next house we're moving to?
But after moving with the egg 5 times since, Lise has grown to appreciate it every day.
Like, oh, right, there's Egbert. So good morning. Yeah, I haven't said good morning, but I'm probably saying it in my mind to him. Yeah.
And soon they'll be saying happy birthday to him. Because although Egbert's insides have started rattling,
he's still in there.
His outside remains unscathed.
Not one crack.
Egbert's kind of inspirational.
He is. He's strong.
And he's set to celebrate being 60 years old. How long is Egbert going to stay in the fridge?
Forever, as long as I'm here. And the older you get, the neater it is.
And the older we get, the more precious we realize life is. So when we can find something that connects us with our past and improves our present, why not preserve it into the future?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Esquimalt.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Before we go tonight, it is time for another of our Behind the Likes segment. With me is Lauren Stallone for more on this. So this week, Lauren, we're talking about a trend, a local establishment that is gaining popularity online, jumping on a trend right now.
Exactly, that's right. So we are talking about a new matcha bar in London. It's called Bella Mia Matcha Bar. It's the first one in London. Now, people on social media have been posting their experience checking out the matcha bar and what they thought of it. So before we jump into the matcha bar itself, I want to talk a little bit about the origin of matcha. So it actually has roots back to Japan. Now, it's the same leaf as a green tea leaf. However, when you drink a matcha, you are actually ingesting the leaf itself, the entire leaf. So it is rich in antioxidants, and it also has a calming effect. And the amino acid in the leaf prevents spikes and crashes like coffee. So I think that's really what the appeal is here, having that calming effect. And people are saying it's a little bit better for you than coffee. So
it's something that is in the same genre, so to speak, as tea and coffee.
Exactly. A little bit different, a little bit fancier. So I spoke with the Matcha Bar itself to get an understanding of why they wanted to be the first in London and how they feel now that they're going viral.
The idea did come from noticing like what's missing in the city. A lot of cafes do serve matcha, but I find a lot of them don't specialize in matcha. We treat matcha as a cultural practice rather than a trend. Ceremonial matcha reflects the discipline, process, and care that aligns with the health-conscious audience. I've seen my face across people's Instagrams and people's TikToks. It's cool. It's nice to see people enjoying the service that we're giving them and excited and coming back almost every day for the same service over and over again.
So it's obviously a very visually appealing drink, but I wanted to get an understanding of why it is so popular. So I spoke with a food industry analyst to understand why this trend has really blown up social media.
The popularity of matcha has been growing for a while now. I'd say 2-3 years. Obviously, TikTok is partially responsible for this momentum, obviously, because it is a highly Instagrammable product. It's light green. I mean, you can actually notice it from far away, and it looks good. And it's associated with wellness, calmness as well.
Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not a tea drinker.
Really? Not coffee?
I've never had a matcha before, so you're getting my genuine first impression.
Okay.
Try these out.
I am a matcha drinker, but I haven't had this kind before. Okay. This is a rose almond matcha, and yours is banana bread matcha.
Banana bread. It does not look banana-y at all. I will say that. Let's find out what it tastes like.
All right.
It does taste a lot like banana bread.
Mine's really sweet. I like it though. You have to. It's an acquired taste for sure, but I like that.
I would agree
sweetness.
on the acquired taste. I would drink this before I would drink coffee.
That's good to know.
Who doesn't drink it, so not bad.
Do you feel calm? Are you feeling more calm?
Oh, I'm calmer already. Now that I know that the newscast is over, that
amazing.
Lauren, thanks so much. For all of us at CTV News London, that's it for us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.